When you say you're a skeptic, what does that mean?
It means I withhold judgment in the absence of evidence.
Okay, so obviously you do believe that your rational mind is intact.
Yes, I'd like to think so.
Okay?
I am just a human being, and I'm sure that there are many places where I slip up, or, I do go more off of my emotion than, what I know to be true.
I'm sure we all do at times. All right. So then my question is very simple. What are you living for as a thinking person? What are you living for? And obviously you're motivated by something or someone. You wouldn't be standing here dressed the way you are, articulating the way you are, if you weren't living for something or someone. And the second question is, as a skeptic, what's the evidence that whatever it is you're living for is true?
Well, this is actually one of the things where I feel that I don't believe that there is any as such great purpose that all humans need to fulfill. I feel that everyone has their own purpose that they need to find for themselves. For me personally, I'll admit I'm still in the process of working that out. For some people, it's going and helping others, giving their life to philanthropy. For others, it is for believers, it might be their God, whichever God they believe in. For others, it might be conquering the business world, becoming a tech mogul, what have you. And for some people, it's just as simple as starting a family, having a spouse and children that they love. I don't believe that there's one great purpose that everyone needs to fulfill. I think everyone tends to make their own.
I think it's real clear that you are living for something. Something or someone is supreme. You couldn't be a student here. You couldn't be working as hard as you're working without a motive. I would encourage you to dig deep and to ask yourself, what is motivating me? Because when you get the answer to that question, then you will know what you're living for. You'll know what's motivating you. You'll know what is your God. Be it a career, be it intellectual attainment of a certain degree, a PhD or whatever, be it the accumulation of money through a high-paying job after you've gotten a good education here. But sir, you can't be here at this fine university without being a highly motivated person. You did not arrive here by accident. My point is, skepticism is a nice option, but you will put your head on your pillow tonight the same way I will put my head on my pillow. And like it or not, sir, I am living for someone or something, and so are you. Now, yes, we're in process of checking it out, of adding, subtracting. But sir, I hate to tell you, you are motivated, obviously. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. You're a highly motivated human being, which means you are living for someone or something. Someone or something is supreme, which means that's the object of your worship. I'm asking you, what is the supreme object of your allegiance, what's motivating you through life? And secondly, what's the evidence that that object, whatever that object is reliable, it's not going to rip you off?
Well, I guess as of now, what motivates me is the pursuit of personal growth. And to that I say, sure, there is not necessarily a guarantee that that won't rip me off. For all I know, I could be sitting on my deathbed, say 70 years from now, or let's be realistic, 60 years from now. And, be thinking, man, like, I had so much potential I wasted. I could have done this with my life. I could have, done this better in college or in my career or whatnot. You're right. That isn't something that's necessarily reliable.
Okay, well, it sounds to me like what you're saying is, Cliff, I'm living to be a success, and I define success.
Yes, and I think everyone, whether they like it or not, does define what success means to them. As I said, for some people, for Steve Jobs, success might have been creating this tech empire.
Right.
Or Joe the plumber down the street, success is, having a wife and kids that he loves.
Mm-hmm.
Success is defined by each person on their own.
Okay. Now I'm standing here saying, if there is no God, success is whatever you define it to be.
Sure.
But if there is a God, it's possible that you and I were created for a purpose. And according to Christ, that is correct. According to Christ, the purpose for which God created us is to love God with our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. So if what you say is true, that there is no God, which is, am I wrong or right on that one?
I don't believe there is a God, but I'm happy to admit I'm wrong in the face of evidence.
Okay. So if there is no God, life is ultimately a crapshoot. It doesn't matter whether you're Adolf Hitler II or whether you're Mother Teresa II, because life is ultimately meaningless. So if you want to slaughter people like Hitler did and define that as success, then Hitler was a success. If you want to define success like Mother Teresa did, that working women the dying in Calcutta, India is good and that's the definition of success, then do that. But you see, sir, if there is no God, it means there is no purpose ultimately to life. You create your own purpose, and obviously Adolf Hitler created his own purpose, and Mother Teresa created her own purpose. So you see, it doesn't really matter what you do.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter what you do. For example, if you leave the world in a worse state than you find it, or you cause mass human suffering, then I think most people with a basic sense of morality would get the sense that, yeah, what you did was a failure. You know,
Who defines basic sense of morality? Who defines that? What is the foundation of your values? What is the basis of your understanding that racism is wrong? If human beings are simply highly developed monkeys, why on earth would you say that a human being is more valuable than a monkey or than a cow?
Well, we're social animals. As social animals, we do inherently value each other on some level more than we value a crow or a dog.
Yeah, but why? Is that idiocy? Is that just human arrogance to think that I, because I'm a human being, am more valuable than a crow or a dog?
Well, if we value other members of our own species, we're more likely to survive.
Okay, so the basis of morality is survival, then, is what I hear you saying. We have values, we have morality, so we can survive. Is that
survival is a component, yes. And survival goes beyond, in my view, survival goes beyond just an individual survival. You know, I'm not saying if surviving meant I would have to kill 3 people near me and devour them. I'm not saying that would be moral. What I'm saying with survival here is survival is a component, but another component is maximizing the capacity for human happiness as a whole.
Fine. So your definition of survival is maximizing the capacity for happiness. Well, what happens if I get my happiness from raping women? Who are you to tell me that I'm wrong? If everything's relative, and if values are just created in our heads, then you create your values in your head. I create my values in my head.
Well, there's the fact
if I say that slavery helps me economically, and it helps me provide for my family, who are you to tell me in my culture that my slavery is wrong? If everything's relative, what are you getting so hot under the collar about when it comes to racism or slavery or rape or whatever? I mean, live out what you believe. And if there is no God, if morality is relative, then it's all a crapshoot. And it really doesn't matter whether you're Adolf Hitler II or Mother Teresa II. It's all meaningless. It's all a bias, a prejudice. Now I'm saying, guess what? None of you can live that out. You might tell me you're a moral relativist. You might tell me you're a skeptic. Guess what, sir? Skepticism goes just so far because you have to decide how you're going to treat people. And you can't be confronted by racism and say, oh, I'm just going to be a skeptic. No, you have to make a decision. Am I going to be racist or am I going to respect all people? And if I am going to respect all people, why? What's the basis of human significance and value and dignity? And if I am going to be racist, why? Why should I denigrate another human being just because they're of a different ethnic heritage? You've got to think and ask, why do I hold to the values I hold to? What is the basis of my values? And if you're going to tell me, as a skeptic, that it's all relative, fine. I respect your right to be a skeptic and to say that morality is relative, but you better not come off telling me that rape is really wrong, that gassing Jews is really wrong, that racism is absolutely objectively wrong. It's not, sir. It's all just a prejudice, a bias. Do you prefer Coke to Pepsi? It's a taste. Do you prefer murder to compassion and helping people? It's ultimately meaningless if there is no God. It's just a crapshoot.